The title of this video is How to Break Free to Attain Ascension. That's just one way of saying it, but it's really about deep clearing and healing. And I'm going to be approaching this in some ways that are a bit unique that I've developed over decades of helping people attain enlightened state and ascension. May addressing this topic take a positive, passive, and transcendent approach. And that can be effective over long periods of time. But when the issues and patterns holding a person at more limited levels in their spiritual journey are more specifically and directly addressed, then spiritual evolution can be quite accelerated. So, this video contains a deep healing meditation after my introductory discussion. So, if you're not in a place where you can meditate, then you probably want to save this for later. All spiritual paths, practices, sessions, meditations, courses, classes, retreats really come down to one thing. Can you guess what it is? You're going to be surprised when you hear the answer, probably. But I'll give you a hint. It has been said that the final step to full spiritual awakening, enlightenment, and ascension is something you do not do yourself. Hmm. Now, I know this sounds somewhat cryptic and maybe counterintuitive because it seems like you've got to work pretty diligently and apply yourself to spiritual practices. And yet, while this is true, all the preparation practices and work you do can only lead you to the doorway of full spiritual unfolding, realization, and enlightenment. So, after all your work, years of practice, you find yourself standing at a threshold between where you are and all the amazing promises that are said to await beyond that threshold. And if you've reached that point, you might be wondering what's preventing you from having the full shift to enlightenment and finally ascension. But as you stand there, you realize you cannot just walk through that doorway. Something is holding you back. And the fact is, you cannot go through that door by means of anything that you do yourself. And this recalls a statement that Jesus himself made, recorded in John 5:30. I can do of my own self nothing. Wow. If that were true of Jesus, what does that mean for you and me? So this leaves the biggest question of all hanging before you. How do you move through the final threshold? It looks like a threshold to me. It's like a veil or a curtain between where you are and where you want to go into the next level of evolution. Is it even possible for ordinary people? Do you know anybody who's done it? Jesus has said, the things I do, you shall do in greater. Well, where is anybody doing these things? You know, throughout history, all the notable spiritual teachers have told you that you are no different than they are, and they're no different from you. And yet it sometimes seems they're almost like superhuman. And furthermore, they refer to themselves as our brothers and our sisters. So there must be some kind of a difference. And it seems to be our ability to accept and believe them. And I think right there is actually a key to what we must attune ourselves to accept and believe in order to successfully fulfill our amazing potential. And that reminds me of what Paul said in 1 Corinthians 2, verse 9. As it is written, eye has not seen nor ear heard, neither has even entered into the heart of man the things which God has prepared for them that love him. So we can barely imagine our potential to what I refer to as our vertical evolution or vertical enlightenment or progressive ascension. And yet the requirements seem pretty basic, don't they? Love others as you love yourself. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So you might think, well, that doesn't seem very difficult or very complicated. But believe it or not, there's actually a skill or a quality that you have to learn and train yourself to do because it doesn't seem to come naturally. And you're going to soon find out why. There's a key ingredient that's really important that forms a foundational cornerstone of all your spiritual work. And what I'm talking about is something you were probably not taught to do. And most people aren't even comfortable with it. And it all has to do with surrender and receiving. The problem lies in the fact that you limit yourself by what you believe about receiving, which also requires being surrendered, humble, and acceptant. And while you may think this is very obvious and perhaps even simple, transforming your consciousness to the sustained level is a really huge undertaking. And it's fundamentally one of the most important subjects I could ever cover with. Whatever spiritual or healing practices you're doing, the key to the benefits come through your ability to receive. And in order to receive, this means being open with no resistance. And the only way you have no resistance is through surrender. Now, if some aspect of you is restricting the receiving, it could be through a fear or a disbelief, or maybe feeling unworthy or undeserving or guilt, or maybe something karmic, or maybe a whole long list of other limitations. Then you can only receive a certain amount. And what this means is you will have shut out the benefits of receiving to the degree that you are closed down to receiving. And your receiving is directly proportional to how surrendered you are. All lack of what you want comes from some form of resistance to receiving. Well, what is resistance? Resistance could be in the form of your emotions or beliefs and conclusions. See, resistance to receiving means there are some things that you have not surrendered or let go. And I think in most cases, it never occurs to anyone that the source of lack may lie within themselves. All science, business, relationships, healing professions, governments, and just about everybody else are looking for all the answers outside. Well, all the while the answers lie inside. So this means a good place to begin opening to receive what you need is through your heart center. Why? Because through the heart center, you can access most of the issues that are blocking you. So this is a good place to begin receiving. As you clear issues and blocks in this area, resistance dissolves and everything you want becomes accessible. Why is this true? Because this is the area where you must be surrendered and where you can most easily access your soul or your higher self. Your higher self or your soul is your true core. It's what lies at the very center of your being. Sometimes it's called the true self. So, in other words, you must access your true self or who you really are. And then you'll discover it when you surrender all the costumes you wear for other people to see. And in the realms of subtle energy, things manifest and happen at the speed of your thoughts and beliefs. By making a request and holding an intention, you're actually giving yourself permission to open a door that's actually always been there. And the door to your soul is a door to a much deeper reality than you usually interact with on a daily basis. But in fact, it is the reality that underlies all the appearances. So here's the key. What enables you to open this doorway or this threshold is your willingness to surrender all resistance in all the forms of all your conclusions, beliefs, negative emotions, and needs. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to give up your beliefs and your conclusions. It means that what you're doing is you're giving up the grip that they have on you. It's a grip that your mind has. It wants to hold on to everything. And it tends to want to hold on to it because it believes they are absolute true, inflexible fact. And so the mind will do everything it can to hold on to it. It will argue for it. It will fight to keep these things. It doesn't want to let them go. And that's why it takes some practice. The only way the mind will let something go is if you can show it a better way. In order to show it a better way, you must be willing to open yourself to another experience than what you've had up until this point, right? Every mind believes it has the truth. It believes it is right. In fact, it has a strong need to be right. So it clings to what it believes. Now, if the mind thought it was wrong, then it would seek something else to replace what is wrong. And then whenever it replaced it with, it would think, well, now that's true. That's what's right. So the problem comes when the mind is stuck on what it believes out of fear of making a mistake or losing control or getting something wrong that will lead to some kind of pain or rejection. And this is what keeps people so strongly attached to their religious beliefs, not to mention political beliefs and their opinions about just about everything you can imagine. So you've got to be gentle with this, gentle with your mind, and you show it there is another way that can bring you what it's been seeking. And what the mind doesn't know yet is how to look inside. It primarily operates through the five senses. And so that's where it gets all of its information. So it's always analyzing and forming conclusions, and the conclusions become beliefs. But now this is where your free will and your conscious choices come in. You make the request to begin turning inside to sense, feel, and experience what lies within the core of your being. And I'll tell you what's there. That's where the love and the peace reside, not outside. Love and peace can certainly manifest in various forms outside of you, but they must first be accessed within. So to find peace, love, healing, fulfillment, happiness, you start by letting go of things you aren't, which the mind thinks you are. So now you can begin to see this could be a little tricky. What do I mean by this? You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are not even your beliefs or your judgments. You're not your perceptions. All those things form what you formerly identified yourself with. And what they do form is your personality. But they've also prevented you from the experience of deep love and the realizations of what you truly are. So you must be willing to let go or surrender everything you have thought and believed. This statement is the secret to evolving spiritually. Can you imagine yourself searching for answers? So you travel to some far off lands, you climb up the high mountain, you find the wisest master on earth, maybe meditating in a cave, and you ask, "Oh, perfect master, what is the secret to life?" And the master replies, "Let go." What? You thought it would be a whole lot more complicated. But the master says, "No, that's it. This is the secret to everything, including everything you want." Well, this certainly does sound simple enough. So why doesn't it seem to be so easy to do it? Well, in order to do this, you must pay particular attention to what you want to hold on to, what the mind wants to hold on to. Those are all the places where you've been wounded in the past. You see, the mind wants to hold on to all of the explanations so it can create defenses, so you can be more safe in the future. So it wants to hold on to everything. When something difficult comes up, say a memory of a painful condition, a situation or a person that you struggle with, or a memory of someone who let you down, rejected you, betrayed you, hurt you in some way, you have to turn and face it. So the first thing you have to do is face the difficulty. Whatever that difficulty is that's challenging you acknowledge events happen. In other words, you don't go into denial or ignore it, which is actually what I've heard some spiritual teachers say. Don't let yourself go there. Just be patient. That won't work. The second thing, you get in touch with the feelings that you have about it. And then you feel compassion for yourself because what you can feel, you can heal. And third, you hold it in your heart and you affirm, I surrender and release all need for this. I call to the soul to embrace it and to merge into. It also helps to visualize a bright white light, filling all the places where you sense the pain or the memory was. I usually use an image of a light about the size of a baseball that looks like the sun. So it's radiating this brilliant white light with maybe a little bit of gold light in it. And that helps put your attention there. And it actually brings in what I call miraculous light, which is a transformative healing light. But we have a natural tendency to avoid looking at pain. But in order to heal from it, you have to address it. So what I'd like you to do is choose an issue that you want to address, and I'll lead you through the process. In the process that I'm describing, you have mercy, compassion, and forgiveness toward yourself for what you went through. And you hold a space of healing and a restoring peaceful presence in your heart. And it helps to recognize that whatever initiated the event or issue is past. It's not happening in this very moment. It's history. So you can acknowledge that you're willing to let it all go since it isn't real in this moment. It's not happening in this moment. It's only a memory. And if this makes sense to you, then you can succeed with this. So again, there are three steps. Face the pain and admit it. You acknowledge it. Second, feel the feelings that you have about it and have compassion on yourself. Actually, having compassion and love on yourself is a very big key to receiving the healing. And three, be willing to surrender and let go of the pain, judgments, conclusions all around the issue and the people involved. You must be willing. While you hold the memories of people involved in your heart, you ask your soul to embrace them with healing, transformative acceptance, love, and surrender. Now, you might think you're certainly ready to let go and wanting to let go, but there must be some part of you invested in holding it. So say to yourself, I am willing to surrender and let go of the need for this. Surrender in the way that I'm using it here means to release all holding, all resistance to letting go. And when you say you're willing to let go of the need for something, you actually gain the cooperation of your mind to release its hold on it, which it previously wanted to hold on to. You're giving yourself permission to let go and shift into a higher level of consciousness. So now put your attention on your heart center in the center of your chest and request to sense the peace, safety, and love of your soul. It's helpful to put a hand over the center of your chest. That makes it a little easier to connect with your heart energy and the soul presence. Now, from your heart, you call to your soul. You're not using your mind. You're not using your intellect or an analytical process. You're calling from your heart, heartfelt. You call to your soul to embrace you and you say, I ask my soul to emerge and integrate into all of my reactions and feelings. I ask my soul to emerge and integrate into all of my reactions and feelings. And then take a deep breath and release anything that comes up and be present with yourself. Now, when you do a process like this, sometimes memories will surface that you haven't thought of in a very long time. And no matter what comes up, the response is the same. Thank you for letting me know. And I surrender and release all need for this. Thank you for letting me know. And I surrender and release all need for this. You see, the ego mind will always tell you what's bugging it. It will always tell you what's disturbing it. It will always tell you what its belief is and what its hang up is. You just have to pay attention. So as you're doing this process, things are going to pop up. You might have memories pop up that you haven't thought of in decades. And so you say, thank you for letting me know. And I surrender and release all need for this. And then you call to the soul and ask it to merge into and embrace whatever came up. So now say these words. I ask the highest enlightened awareness of the soul to merge and integrate fully and deeply into this issue. Now, you said you're willing to surrender the need for it. And so the next big part of the process is I ask the highest enlightened awareness of the soul to merge and integrate fully and deeply into this issue. You want to be willing to let go of all the places that have caused you to shut down. Notice even the slightest tendency that you want to hold on. Places that have been shielded and protected by defenses, such as anger, resentment, fear, worry, hatred, revenge, depression, blame, criticism, and all kinds of other negative reactions. You see, you put up these defenses when you were afraid of being attacked. Maybe you're afraid that somebody would criticize you or blame you or judge you or betray you, or that they would physically attack you or violate you emotionally or hurt you. So you make your reactions and judgments your realities. And then you end up embracing your own creations as reality. But you probably externalize the causes. The ultimate key to healing, clearing, and arriving at where you want to be spiritually is through allowing what you have created to be released and dissolved by the love and light of your soul. Now, I'm going to give you this statement. I want you to listen carefully to the wording, and I'm going to repeat it twice. Healing and clearing the path to an awakened and enlightened life is the art of learning to open yourself to the pain and struggle that covers the deep love that is within. Healing and clearing the path to an awakened and enlightened life is the art of learning to open yourself to the pain and struggle that covers the deep love that is within. The pain and struggle, fear and anger and the other things that are negative are all blocks at that threshold, that doorway that you're wanting to go through to the deeper essence of actually who you are. And so those are the places that you must address. As you hold your attention on the issue, you call to the highest enlightened awareness of your soul and the realm of healing angels to help wash all the pain, struggle, and dissolve it. So let's take this further. I'm going to guide you through the process again with just a little bit more detail. So I want you to put your attention on whatever you sense is causing you to react or to hold on to someone or some painful memory. It could be some feeling of lack or limitation. It could be somebody you had anger toward or hatred toward, or it could be any negative feeling that you had about anyone or about anything. And you're going to take any conclusions and beliefs that you have about it and get in touch with that. What do I believe about this? What conclusions have I come to about this? It's only one or two sentences. And then next you repeat in your mind, I call to the highest enlightened awareness of the soul to merge into all these conclusions and beliefs. You see, your soul will have different views on everything because it views from a much higher level of consciousness. We're calling to the highest enlightened level of the soul consciousness. So when you merge the soul into anything, it brings as much higher perspective to automatically shift or dissolve all the lower level perceptions, conclusions, beliefs. And it's also always nice and helpful to ask for the help of the angels. I call upon the peace and love and healing of all the angels and archangels to wash me free of my limiting belief. I'll repeat that. I call upon the peace, love, and healing of all the angels and archangels to wash me free of my limiting belief. And now notice what is actually in your heart as you make the request. you'll find that you begin to receive an awareness of a new presence emerging that has space for every reaction and perception that comes up. This is a natural outcome of letting go. I call upon the peace, love, and healing of all of the angels and archangels and my soul to wash me free from my limiting beliefs. And just notice there is a peaceful response to your request. It opens up more space around you. Sense and notice the awareness of a deepening, calm presence that merges into your issue. That's the soul. It's also what I call miraculous light. And you hold the presence in your heart, observing what is happening in the emerging presence of more love and more light. Now, while you're doing that, generally there are some inner voices that are attached to all of your conclusions and beliefs. And it's these voices that hold the beliefs, the judgments, and all of your opinions about all of your experiences. They might sound something like these. I'm not really spiritual enough. I'm not good enough. I just can't seem to trust. I must be very cautious. This might be dangerous. I'm afraid I'll make a mistake or I can't do it right. I can't trust anyone. I'm not really worthy of blessings. I'm afraid. Nobody is here for me. I feel abandoned. I feel stuck and blocked. Those are really just a few of the most common voices I have heard thousands of times. There are probably hundreds of others. And you probably have some that are unique to you. But what you want to do is make note of them. Make note of them when they come up and surrender them. The formula, thank you for letting me know. And I surrender and release all need for you. And I let them be washed away and dissolved. Just like you're wanting and willing to let go of the issue, also verbalize to yourself that you are letting go of the need for the voices. Say to yourself, I'm willing to release the need for this voice now. So if you have any of those voices going on inside of you now, repeat that phrase. Thank you for letting me know. I'm willing to release and let go and dissolve you. I'm willing to release all need for you. Healing is the process of allowing your own creations to dissolve and be replaced by a deeper truth that flows from your heart and soul. Healing is the process of allowing your own creations to dissolve and be replaced by a deeper truth that flows from your heart and soul. Most of what you want to let go of was created unwittingly, unconsciously. It's most likely not even in your memory of how it was created. And that's because most of your reaction comes subconsciously and automatically out of a place of fear and a need for security and safety. And most of that is held and generated in the subconscious. But as long as you're willing to let go of the fear, the pain, the struggle, the conflict, whatever it is you've created, you can move to a higher, more fulfilling state of living. And this is how you raise your consciousness and how you get through that threshold that we started talking about. For one thing, it's helpful to remember that whatever caused the situation is in the past. The past is gone. It doesn't even exist other than in your memory. And you can certainly let go of the pain of a memory through forgiveness and surrender, because the past is essentially only an idea in your mind. It is a perception that you remember and you're holding on to, which does not serve you in any way. But the mind tends to want to hold on to it. And the reason the ego mind holds on to it is it believes that it might need it in the future to keep you safe from something similar and enable you to feel more secure. And safety and security are what the ego is most concerned with. But what the ego doesn't know is the soul can take care of you far better than anything it can create. So make a commitment in your heart right now that anything you have created and carry with you that is not from your soul or your higher self, you're willing to let it go. You can think of it as being washed, cleansing, dissolving, and disintegrating from you. And it helps to take a deep breath and release anything that comes up. You want to be willing to let go of all the situations and all the people who ever made you angry or disappointed or upset. Yeah, it may have hurt, sure. But why would you keep hurting yourself over and over and over by continuing to hold on to it and own it? Be willing to let go of any thoughts about your past. A phrase that I used thousands of times when I was going through my clearing myself: I will not own this pain, and I will not let it own me. Now take a deep breath and release anything that comes up for you. When you make a request, the answer is actually automatic. And the answer that you'll receive is in relief. It comes in the form of peace and calmness and an emerging soul love. And if you're wondering what that is like, it is a very deep, peaceful calm and an expansion. It's an open spaciousness that you float in, kind of like an emptiness. And you might feel a lightness of being coming into you. And I can tell you this, you're never going to feel a loss except a loss of pain and struggle. So just allow yourself to float in a very deep expansion. And sometimes there might be a part of you that pulls back or contracts around the idea of letting go to this deep degree. Think of the resulting process of opening you to receive and realize your deep spiritual truth, because it's about receiving the awareness of the deepest truth of your own being. And what is that? It is your own enlightened soul. You see, the soul is already enlightened. All we have to do is bring it in and have it take over. So say to yourself, I'm ready to let go of all judgments, all opinions, all of what I have thought, believed, and held on to. I'm ready to let go of all negative emotions. I am now ready to receive my deepest soul presence. I'm ready to open myself to receive, and I accept and receive the deepest piece of my soul into my heart. Now, if you've been going along with me, you may think you're doing this, but in reality, what you're actually doing is getting out of the way and allowing yourself to receive gifts that await you. So you only have the illusion that you're doing something. You're really just letting go. So just relax, sit back, and trust you are receiving all that you have requested. And let yourself deepen into the trust of receiving. The love and the light that comes in is like water that can work its way all through all of the nooks and crannies and the hidden places you didn't even know about. And it goes in deeper and deeper until it cleans and clears the places you didn't even know existed. That's what happens when you welcome the receiving of the love and the light and the presence of your soul. So in a way, there is no doing in this process. It's all about being surrendered and allowing yourself to receive. The love is intelligent. Did you know that? The love is an intelligent force that moves where it is needed. And what you have been holding on to relaxes in its presence. And it allows you to let go. It allows you to receive its gifts. Moving into deep places within you now and releasing the beliefs, concepts, judgments, attachments to emotions, all the things you've been holding on to are basically all illusions that you've been holding on to all of your life. You want to let them go. Let yourself be washed of all of those reactions, frustrations, anger, feelings of being hurt, feelings of being put down by others. And as you do that, you open yourself more to receive. You can receive healing and love and light deeper as it comes in. The love comes in deeper. Receive it deeper. Bring it in. Receive it. Absorb it. Merge with it and allow the love to do what healing love does. It transforms. It transmutes. It washes, clears, it dissolves everything unlike itself. And eventually that's all there is, love and light in a very deep and a very pure form. This is so beautiful, so wonderful. Notice there's so much peace, more love, more light, more beauty, more soul presence. And you actually feel lighter, cleaner, brighter, and more radiant because now within you is the emerging and dawning of an essential divine light that lives in your heart. And as it emerges, it grows brighter and brighter. So just receive the light transmission. Remember at the beginning, I said this was all about receiving. You want to receive the light, receive the soul, so that This divine radiance inside of you can pour through all of your conscious and unconscious places. And you give yourself permission to allow that. And then you feel and watch and witness. You are opening doors that have been long closed, probably for many lifetimes, as you got absorbed in all of the distractions and illusions that each lifetime brought you. So this is the time to really welcome in the soothing and healing light as it spreads through your whole being, bringing in pure love, deep beauty, healing, purity. Just take a moment and drink all of this in deeply. And now express gratitude for what you've been given today. And slowly allow yourself to come back to the present time and place where you are meditating. Maintain your connection with the deep, peaceful place within you and be thankful because heartfelt gratitude is a door opener as you come fully present here and now. Until next time, I'm Jonathan Park.